Hello, friends. So if you saw my Spirit Halloween video last week, you will know that I am starting to work on a cosplay for Laudna from Campaign 3 of Critical Role. Of course, if you've seen that video, you know that I was not very successful in my Spirit Halloween trip. But I did go on their website afterwards and found a couple of the things I need. So today is going to be part one of an unknown number of videos chronicling the making of my Laudna cosplay. So the things that I got from the Spirit Halloween website are for making Pâté, the little rat that Laudna has hanging from her belt. So obviously I got a cute little rat guy. He apparently squeaks. And then I also got a bird skeleton because Pâté has a bird skull on his head. And so I'm going to remove the head from this guy to put it on the rat. So obviously the first step of all of this is figuring out how to detach the skull from the rest of the body. There's a screw in his mouth up here, but I don't see how that screw could be attaching his head to his neck back here. So I'm thinking that probably is like holding his inner mouth to his skull. I don't know. So this is going to be an adventure, this part. And I think that the method I'm going to try first is going to be just pulling real hard and seeing if it comes off. Alright, this guy is incredibly well made, and the head will not come off by just pulling. So I don't know what other method, because there's no screws. Like, there's screws right here, which there's one here that obviously attaches the legs to the butt. There's screws here which obviously attach the wings to the rib cage. And then there's no screw to attach the head, and the head like spins. So like, yeah, there's that. But yeah, there's no screw for where the head gets attached, so I really don't know how I'm gonna get this off. Okay, I think I might have figured it out. I just have to pull very hard, like I thought. I saw some movement. Okay, good news, I've managed to loosen it. That is the thing. It is now wobbly, so I'm just gonna keep working on this until my hands are raw and the head comes off. Okay. One last update before the head is off, but I've discovered, so there's like the seam in the back of the skull, and in my loosening I've made it so I can sort of like lift and peer inside to where the neck is attached, and there is in fact a screw in there. So I think what I'm going to need to do is utilize this screw that's on the inside of his mouth so that I can then take the top of the skull off. And you know, honestly, just taking the top of the skull off might be all I need to do to put it onto the rat's head. We'll see. I need to get a screwdriver. Ah, that did absolutely nothing. It is still very much attached. Huh. Okay. I did it! So what I ended up doing is, so I removed the lower jaw, and I was able to peek inside through the little holes that the jaw was in, and I could see that when I like pulled up or pushed down the screw, there was like a length difference. Like, you see the screw sort of sticking up, and I was like, okay, righty tighty, lefty loosey. If I like pull and turn at the same time, then I'll be able to pull the screw out of the neck. Of course, now the screw is inside the skull and is rattling around, and there's nothing I can really do about that. So I guess Pâté is just going to be rattly. So that's cool, but it's off! Okay, so now for the attaching of the skull to the rat. So his ears are a little in the way, which is slightly problematic. And I'm not quite sure what to do with them because they're like not entirely hard plastic, but like hard enough that they don't really bend. and they're like right where the like jaw, like cheekbones of the skull are, and so it's like just sticking up at a weird angle. So I might need to remove the ears. I don't know how I'm supposed to do that. Okay, figured things out. So I was able to, because there were screws, there was the screw that was like on the underside of his mouth, and then up at the top there was 2 more screws, sort of near where the neck hole was. And so I was able to remove those screws. So now, well, 1, I got the screw out that was inside there holding the head to the neck. And 2, now the top of the skull is hollow. So now I can sort of like force the ears inside. So maybe that'll work. We're gonna do some more experimenting and see if I can try and get it to be on here how I want it to be. Okay, so yeah, so now that I have it so that it's hollow on the skull instead of having the inside of the mouth on there and just making it flat, I can stick the ears inside, and I think that that will work. So now I just have to glue it so that it stays. I might try using my heat gun to maybe try and like make the skull a little bit more malleable, to flare it a little bit so that it fits a little bit better on the sides, but I also don't want to like melt it. So I'm gonna have to be careful doing that. I'm gonna try it. Alright, I have officially glued the head onto Pâté. The heat gun really didn't make a difference, but I figured out, since the rat is a little bit squishy, I figured out a way to sort of like squeeze his head and his ears to like fit them in there best before hot gluing it on. Alright, now for the last parts of this. So the way that in the official art, the way that Pâté is attached to Laudna's belt is his tail is tied to that part of the belt. But obviously with this like rubbery plastic tail, that's not gonna work so well. It's not gonna knot. So I've got some string that I'm going to use. I'm also going to tie some of this around his front paws and then make like loops at the ends so that I can puppet him like she does. Alright, so I've got all of his strings on. Obviously, seeing as I have not made literally anything else, I don't know the exact length of the string that I want from his tail, but I can lengthen or shorten it. I've got plenty of string. But I've got my little puppet strings, so now I just have to slip them on and then la-la! Hopefully it will work better when he's actually attached to my belt. But once again, like I said, I've got lots more string, so if my experiment does not work, I can make adjustments. But I can puppet him now. And there we have it. Pâté DeRolo, the lovely little rat puppet that Laudna made herself so that she would not go insane. I now, of course, have all these bones that I have nothing to do with, so I'll figure out something, I'm sure. In the meantime, I am very excited to have this first piece of my Laudna cosplay done, and I'm excited to start working on the rest of it. So those videos will be coming out in the coming months, weeks, whatever, however long it takes me to make this. You guys know how I am. Anyway, with the holidays coming up, my December posting schedule might be a little weird. I haven't figured out that yet. Most likely I will have at least 2 videos in December. And of course, if you want to always be up to date on the rest of this build log for this cosplay and everything else that I'm working on, then go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and you can follow me on all other social medias that are linked in the description. And we will see you next time.